Hello, Alex again. You guys keep coming back and checking on me and I appreciate it. The past few nights have been really hard on me. Every night I see my loved ones and every night they take them away. I feel like I'm being tortured and the only reason is because I am a saint. I don't want this title as a burden. Recently the townsfolk have been acting really strange and last night was even worse. At this point I'm fearing that these things are going to take me too. It all started in the morning. It felt normal at first. I woke up, made coffee and ate some eggs in a basket just like my father used to make. I decided to turn my radio tower on to start broadcasting my music as I normally would, when what seems like a woman started pounding on my window. Immediately this made me spill my boiling hot coffee on my freshly pulled out of the dryer pants. I yelled in pain, "What the fuck?" Oh well, once I pulled myself together I see this woman staring at me through my window. She was covered in blood. Her eyes were white as marbles and she was smiling. Shortly after she started banging on the window again. This time I got to see it. Her hands were missing and it was just a bloody stub with bits of flesh hanging on it. I dropped down behind my desk and almost vomited. This lady was my neighbor, Mrs. Jacobson. Normally she would come by and hand me the newspaper. She and I weren't friends, more just friendly neighbors, just my mail would often end up at her place. I don't know what to do as she kept pounding on the window, with each consecutive hit making a sickening squelching noise as the blood-covered stump slapped on my window, leaving more and more blood and viscera behind. I stayed behind my desk as the image of her unearthly smile is burned into my brain. It wasn't more than a few minutes when it stopped. It was then I decided to slowly peek over the edge. I just saw her standing there, staring at me. No, through me. I can feel her gaze pierce my soul. She slowly opened her mouth and it started to stretch in inhuman lengths as her mouth easily grew to be about 1 foot long. "What the fuck do you want?" I yelled. She just kept looking with her mouth wide open. It was at this moment I went to the window and just shut the blinds. I can hear her yelling. Nothing that makes sense. It was more just random ghoulish howling with a voice that was far too deep for her. I call the government guys in the church. "Hey, you guys said I should call if anything is out of the ordinary. Well, right now Mrs. Jacobson is outside my home banging on my window with a nub and screaming like she's possessed." I waited a few seconds and heard nothing. "Hello?" I asked, annoyed. "We have sent a team. Lock your doors and don't let anyone or anything in." I looked around and just said, "Okay, can do." My office where I run the radio out of has very heavy oak doors. It was carved by my father and was made so thick and heavy it blocked out sound from our house. My guess was so no ambient noise can bother his work. I rushed to my office doors and right before I can close it I heard my front door burst open. It was her. She lifted her only hand, pointed at me with her freakishly open mouth, and this time her eyes were completely white. She screamed an ungodly scream and started full sprint running at me. Now my hallway was not very long, but I was able to slam the door shut and deadbolt the door. She started banging on my door and can barely hear her screams. It felt like hours of her just non-stop pounding my door and screaming. I was stopped abruptly when I heard faintly people yelling for her to get on the fucking ground, shortly after followed by gunshots. I then hear the men yelling with blood-curdling screams. The bullets they shot left small holes in my door, large enough for me to look through them. When I peered through one of the holes I see this crazy lady devouring these heavily armed men. The sounds of bones crunching in her hideous maw. The twisting and grinding sinew and blood that squirts out of these men as she reaches in them to pull a large chunk out. I couldn't look away, but I was absolutely mortified by this beast of a woman I thought she was. I kept looking at her grotesque features and noticed her body was healing, slowly growing together. The color in her skin was coming back. She slowly turned her all the way around like she was an owl. I can hear her spine cracking in the pressure. She could sense me watching her. We locked eyes and she stood up and slowly turned around, keeping eyes locked on me. It was then she sprinted at the door, scaring the shit out of me. I fell backwards as I can see her eyes, now a bright white, peering through one of the holes. She then spoke, "And thou shalt eat the fruit of thine own body, the flesh of thy sons and of thy daughters, which the Lord thy God hath given thee, in the siege and in the straitness, wherewith thine enemies shall distress thee." She spoke in a loud, thunderous tone. It was so loud it made me disorientated. I yelled back, "What are you wanting, you crazy bitch?" As my vision slowly came back to normal, she spoke again, "Child, you are a key part. You will recognize your role soon enough." Right after I saw a bright white lights and heard the sound of trumpets blaring. It felt like the whole world was shaking. Items were falling off my shelves and my roof cracked as the lights gotten brighter and hotter. It all stopped and the light vanished. The residual heat was still there, but Mrs. Robinson, or the thing she was gone. I opened the door slowly. All I saw was the bodies of the men and ashes on the floor. My carpet was stained a dark crimson and the smell of iron and burnt popcorn filled the air. I decided to shut my door and lock it again and called the command center that was in the church. They asked what happened. I explained it all and told them, "Come get these men off my floor, and I'm not leaving this room until it's safer. I will not be killed by some old lady on the other end." All I hear is "understood." You need to be safe, stay there and bunker down. I hung up and started to leaving this note. Right now they are cleaning the carpet and removing all the evidence. I overheard them saying they found a slime on some of the bodies. I don't know what to do. Whatever happens next, I sure hope I can end these damn monsters. If you guys know anything on what to do or how to stop this, I fear my time is coming to an end. The sound of horns and chanting is louder than ever. I can even hear these things whispering in my ear, describing horrible and graphic battles and random acts of violence. I've gone so tired and sleep is rare. Please. I just want to die, but they won't let me. I'm going to try to fall asleep now. I'll keep y'all posted.